Well, good morning. Breathe deeply. Whew. It's been a week, y'all. So, I suggest that we settle in for a minute. We take a few deep breaths and just celebrate the fact that in this moment, we can be here. We can be here in this beautiful place. We can be here with a community that we love. We can be here in comfort. And I invite you in this moment to leave your what ifs, your could be's, your might happens, your shouldn't happens, all of that. Leave it outside. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Stop shoulding yourself. Leave it outside right now. Be in this place. In this place where we can feel the warmth of community. Where we know that community is strength. Where we know we can rely on one another. Where we know that whatever is happening outside, we have the power of love inside. Let us bring to mind those that we love, those who are suffering, those who are being targeted, those who are doing the targeting. Everyone we blame for what's going on. Try to keep our hearts open to all of it. Knowing that it is in that open heart of love that change actually happens. Oh yeah. Another deep breath. Because we're going to need those. All right, speaking of A Course in Miracles, I'm going to read you some Course in Miracles this morning from chapter 5. Every loveless thought must be undone, a word the ego cannot even understand. To the ego, to be undone means to be destroyed. The ego will not be destroyed because it is part of your thought, but because it is uncreative and therefore unsharing, it will be reinterpreted to release you from fear. The part of your mind that you have given to the ego will merely return to the kingdom where your whole mind belongs. You can delay the completion of the kingdom, but you cannot introduce the concept of fear into it. The Holy Spirit, the shared inspiration of all the sonship, induces a kind of perception in which many elements are like those in the realm of heaven itself. First, its universality is perfectly clear, and no one who attains it could believe for one instant that sharing it involves anything but gain. Second, it is incapable of attack, and is therefore truly open. This means that although it does not engender knowledge, it does not obstruct it in any way. Finally, it points the way beyond the healing that it brings and leads the mind beyond its own integration toward the paths of creation. It is at this point that sufficient quantitative change occurs to produce a real qualitative shift. And we're going to unpack that. Do not panic. Now, I don't know about any of you, but 4th of July kind of felt different this year. It kind of, I struggled. Like lots of people, I struggled to find joy, to find peace. This past decade, not to mention just the past few months, they've been sort of overwhelming and frightening to me. There's been a pandemic, wars and rumors of wars, government institutions being dismantled, thousands laid off, state lawmakers being shot and killed in their homes, legislation passing that experts say will do great harm to the least of these and transfer more wealth to those who already have enough for several lifetimes, a Supreme Court bent on taking back hard-won rights. Oh my, the list just seems endless. And some days it's just too much. Some days I do give in to the despair. But I'm bringing good news this morning. And the good news is, you don't have to live in this world anymore. No, there's no Kool-Aid, don't worry. There is something we can do to change the world forever without fear of any gains being reversed, but it will require not just a new way to think, but a new way to live. Now, certainly, many of us are already doing all we can to reverse these ominous trends using the tools that we've used in the past. We protest. We put our bodies on the line. We write and we call our representatives. We make our views known. We go to the ballot box every time it's made available, whether the election is for dog catcher or every office in between. We agitate, we resist, we gather, we hold signs, we shout slogans, we stand vigil, we stand in unity. And these tactics, they have been successful in the past. Laws have been changed. Women got the right to vote, to hold office, to have their own bank accounts, to buy property. Women, for a time, gained control of their own reproductive rights. Gays and lesbians won the right to love one another in private, then in public, as marriage rights were granted. Black people set free from slavery, allowed to marry across racial lines, granted equal rights in voting, jobs, and all other areas of life. Schools were integrated. We even became enlightened enough to elect a black man as president. Women were selected for the highest courts in the land. People of color ascended into positions of power and prestige. We really have come a long way in this country for the fight for equality and equity and civil rights. But of course, most recently, the clock's begun to turn back. We find ourselves in the familiar fight for our rights. And you know what? Many of us, we're just tired. We thought we had won this victory, and now, here we are, back at square one in many areas, and maybe there are setbacks coming in the future. But this new way that I am suggesting this morning, though, it can create a more permanent state of love and peace and joy in the world by creating what A Course in Miracles calls the happy dream. And the stickers here on my podium, it reflects two principles of this new revolution paradigm. One is begin within, and the second is the revolution will not be violent. And what? Oh, is that one? Yeah. And then faith is a verb. It really is. It is an action. But these are the two ingredients. Begin within. The revolution will not be violent. These are the two ingredients that I think are missing from the old ways that we have sought to bring more permanent change in the world. I believe that everything we do is infused with the spirit in which we do it. So protesting is great, but if we're out there protesting from a sense of anger and a feeling of being treated unfairly or unjustly, all we're doing is bringing more anger, indignity, and injustice into the world. But if we begin within, if we cultivate the peace, freedom, equity, and equality that we seek outside, if we seek that within first, then when we join the protest march, we're creating more peace and more freedom, more equity, more equality. The protests that I have attended over the years, and there have been many, have been nonviolent on their face, but I know within my heart that I have carried a sense of anger and hatred for my perceived opponent within myself while I'm out there protesting. I have harbored violence towards those that I see as oppressing me or my community in some way. And this new revolution I'm talking about, though, it takes nonviolence to a new level, not just in action, but in thought and belief. We can't advance the cause of love in the world as long as any unloving thought remains inside. Seems quite simple, right? Get your heart right, get your mind right, heal our own inner battles, heal our own shame and despair, and watch how the world transforms around us. And, some people roll their eyes at that. Yeah, preacher, just try that inner peace and light stuff all you want. I ain't gonna work. It reminds me of what writer G.K. Chesterton once said about Christianity, his whole famous quote. "The Christian ideal," he said, "has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried." I will revise it to say this. The inner way to permanent outward nonviolent revolution of love has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. So why do we find it so difficult? Well, because the inner revolution of love requires us to see clearly that this world really is but a dream, and we have concocted it together with our collective egos, and it requires us to remember who we all truly are. We are innocent, originally blessed, beloved children of God who have the power to bring the light of love into this world and totally transform it from despair to joy. We all have that power. We do. The most difficult thing about the inner path to revolution, though, is that we must give up our grievances against one another. The first hurdle. We must remember that even those we hate with the purest forms of hatred are also innocent, originally blessed, beloved children of God who have the power to bring the light of love into the world and totally transform it from despair to joy. Yep, even Donald Trump, even Lindsey Graham, even Chuck Schumer, even the 5 Supreme Court justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade, even your neighbor who believes all the conspiracy theories. All the same, all innocent, all beloved. Whoever you feel separate from is just like you, an extension of God into this world that is so, but they're so thoroughly hoodwinked by their ego that they forget their divine innocence. They forget their original blessing. They are blinded to the light that they carry within them. And if you're willing to believe that these are God's rowdy children, then yeah, if you believe, if you can't look at the people that you say you hate or blame for whatever's happening and see their light, if you can't do that, then your inner revolution of love, it's over before it starts. We gotta give up the grievances. You say you want a revolution, right? Well, we all want to change the world. But if you're talking about destruction, you can count me out. But if you're talking about an inner revolution of love that completely changes us from the ego-driven to our higher divine self in the world, oh yeah, you can count me in on that. Because, as the Course says, once we realize that we are each the light of the world, and we join our minds in this light, then we will proclaim the realm of God in this place together as one. And that's a revolution I want to be part of. Breathe deeply. So how many of you, maybe this the kids, I think we all grew up in the time of rotary phones. Right? Do you remember your home phone number when you were a kid? Uh-huh. Yep. 404-945-9470. I know that number. Right? These days, we got these little bricks we carry around, right? And it remembers everything for you. something studies are showing is eating away at our ability to remember much of anything. And heaven forbid, if I ever get arrested, because my one phone call is going to be to whoever has my childhood number right now. Because that's really the only one I can remember. Oh.
Have you ever been tempted to dial that?
No, I haven't, but hey, maybe later. Is your refrigerator running? No. That's it. But that old world, where the rotary phones that we all had is gone. That world doesn't exist anymore. We don't use that tool anymore because we don't need it. We have new tools, for better or worse, that have replaced things that we once thought were indispensable. So just as rotary phones have gone the way of the dodo, I believe our old tools of revolution must also be set aside. Sure, there was a time when both rotary phones and cell phones existed at the same time. There was some overlap. But this moment, just like that time, it's one of transition. So yeah, go protest, write letters, call your Congress critters, vote, get out there and get others to register to vote and go to the polls. But let us also try this new way that has been found difficult and left untried. If you still don't believe me, that a revolution from inside out is possible, I'm going to give you some solid evidence of how it actually works. Look at what's happening right now. Look at everyone you call your opponent. We are where we are today in our politics and society because they did this difficult thing of becoming true believers in their cause. Whether we agree with it or not, that doesn't matter. They had no doubt within their hearts and minds that this day of victory would come for them. No matter what setbacks they suffered, no matter how slow the process may have seemed, they did not lose heart. They did not give up. They truly became the change they wanted to see in the world. It works. But what if we did that too? But instead of leading with hearts that want to repress or suppress or control or deny the rights to those around us, what if we led with hearts that want nothing but love and joy to permeate the world around us? What if we led with our soul instead of our ego? Because the ego wants to be right, but the soul wants freedom. And when we lead with ego, seeking to impose our beliefs on others so we can feel right and mighty, then we create the world we have now. But when we lead from our soul, from that higher divine self that only knows freedom, then we can create a world of equity, a world of love and peace and joy where everyone is cared for and respected. So how do we do that? How do we begin within and create that nonviolent revolution of love that we crave? Well, first, I think we have to be willing to allow the world we see now to collapse. And we are so afraid that if this world, and especially our form of government, collapses, all we're going to have is authoritarianism or fascism. We bemoan the state of humanity in this moment. What if, though, instead of falling into despair, we double down on the original goodness of us all and fully believe that even in the face of collapse, we can find a way back to one another, to create a world of equanimity and justice grounded in those principles of authentic, holy love. And what if we believed it so thoroughly that we were willing to do whatever it takes to bring it to fruition? If you're interested in trying this difficult thing of beginning within to create a nonviolent revolution of love, a course tells us that we can develop this holy perception that sees only love and brings us into heaven at every moment. So first we begin within. We understand we're all in this together because we are all one spirit, all unified within the one Creator. When we can know our unity, then we know that we lose nothing by becoming God's light in the world. Secondly, our loving perception of the world will lead us to stop attacking each other. In fact, if we are so dedicated to our revolution of love, we will become incapable of attack. All we will know how to do is love one another. Finally, a course says, when we can see only unity and love, our minds of separation are healed, and our ego disappears. A course says the ego will not be destroyed because it is part of your thought, but because it is uncreative and therefore unsharing, it will be reinterpreted to release you from fear. The part of your mind that you have given to the ego will merely return to God's realm, where your whole mind belongs. So this is the ultimate integration of the shadow, of your shadow self. It just melds back into the whole mind. And this is the revolution that we are called to lead in this world, a nonviolent revolution from within that heals us so completely that our ego disappears, because it will be healed and fully integrated with our higher divine self. Imagine, just imagine, living in an egoless world, a world where love is the rule, and we all gain what we need. Everyone becomes incapable of attacking anyone else. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. My friends, the old world is trying to leave. It is becoming unbearable. But a new world is trying to emerge. Are we willing to birth it? Are we willing to be the midwives of the arrival of a revolution of love? Are we willing to try something new and radical in service to love? And if you are, I'm just going to give you some practical things, a few practices that you can do now to bring about this new way to see the world through the eyes of love. First, go outside. As Noel was saying, take time in nature. Reconnect with the wondrous, wondrous things outside. And while you're looking at the beautiful tree and the flowers and the sky, remember their interdependence. Here we declare a day of independence, but nothing in this world is independent. Everything is connected. Everything. Go outside and meditate on that for a little while. Meditate on our oneness. And forgive those you blame as the source of the world's problems. And that might include some self-forgiveness. But most of all, be in service to the world around you and everyone you see or think about. It doesn't have to be huge. I do this all the time. Just practice kindness. Practice joy wherever you go. Smile at a stranger. Talk to the cashier at the grocery store. Hold a door open for somebody. And whatever you do, make an effort in every moment to remind yourself of our unity. To see God's love, light of love in everyone you meet. Maybe especially if they're sporting an iconic hat or their car has a bumper sticker that you don't like. I always call it the Walmart. It's the Walmart test. If you can go into the Walmart and go, oh my God, look at all these representations of God walking around Walmart. Oh my God, there's God over there blocking the peanut butter that I want to get to. Oh my God, look at that long line because there's only one cashier. I think I'll go mingle with all those beautiful, beautiful lights of the holy standing there. Changes your whole experience in Walmart. It really does. You don't walk around going, get out of my way. Stop seeing people as obstacles. See them as light. Because you know what? We're all going through something. Every single one of us. Every single one of us has a problem a despair, an ache, a regret. We all walk around with that. And if somebody smiles at you in the grocery store and strikes up a conversation, don't you walk out a little bit lighter? Because we're all connected and we all want to feel connected. And that's one simple way you can do it. Take baby steps. And soon you'll find yourself growing more and more into that realization of our interconnectedness, our interdependence upon one another. That is our oneness. And as you deepen your practice of an inner revolution of love, one day, you will find, I haven't gotten there yet, but one day, still aspirational, one day, you will find yourself incapable of attacking anyone. Because you will look out and you will not see an enemy. You'll finally reach that place where ego disappears because it is fully healed and it simply slips right into the light of love along with everything else in this world. Again, it's aspirational. But we can make progress. But when we reach that point, that egoless point, the Course tells us sufficient quantitative change occurs to produce a real qualitative shift. In other words, you will have so revolutionized your inner world to the point that only love remains, that your outer world follows suit. So I invite you to ponder this truth this morning. If enough of us are willing to do the difficult thing and fully live into these principles, begin within, and the revolution will not be violent, then don't you know it's going to be all right.